welcome back. Last video we had the talk about the understanding of the players and how some people have become a little bit too delulu, and stuff like that. This actually going to be the video about myself. It's going to be the gaming aspect. I'm not going to go crazy on my whole story, life, and everything like that, but it's just going to cover some of the aspect and something that you can actually learn about a specific player versus a bunch of players out there in the world, and depending on how they lived and stuff like that. So when I was a child, I was raised and born in Puerto Rico until the age of 9, and I came to the United States. When I was in Puerto Rico, I was born and raised in Utuado. And during that time, my father had what we call a joyeria. And the joyeria means jewelry store. So when my father, when the new games out, there was a bunch of games that coming out, and we weren't making that many great money. But when the games came coming out from the Atari and stuff like that, I didn't get to play much of those. And then I was playing more of the little snake eating thing and the one with the little balls that goes up and down and stuff like that. So during that time, my father was able to actually buy me I think that was actually my mother. My mother bought me the Super Nintendo. So the Super Nintendo had two games that came with it, and that was a Mortal Kombat 1 and a Street Fighter. When I played those two games, I was just hooked. It was game over for me. It's like crack. I think it wasn't a good idea to actually show kids these things, but it wasn't so bad. It wasn't so bad. But it was really good thing for me because I really loved those type of games. So when that happened, my father actually kind of kept an eye on me and stuff like that, and me and my mother, my mother and my father discussed it on a plan to why not turn the joyeria into a gaming store. I want to say it's called the Cyber Cafe. That's what it's called. It's called Cyber Cafe, but back then wasn't called like that. That's when back then was when you can get a 25-cent and buy a bunch of candy, because the 25-cent was actually a lot of money, a big good amount of money. Not a lot of money, but a good amount of money for kids. So during that time, they went ahead and they transformed the store, the joyeria, to a Cyber Cafe. So what happens is you will pay 25 cents to 50 cents, and basically you'll pay between half an hour and an hour. So during that time, sorry, I ate. During that time, I invited a bunch of players, people who love to play the games, into the store. And we did some few testing trials and stuff like that, and then later they started coming a lot of kids. A lot of kids my age during that, 5 or 6 years old. They were just coming in there playing Super Mario. I was playing Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. I was technically the top second contender during that time, and I was a little bit of a crybaby during those times because I wanted to become the best of what I did. So I did beat him in Mortal Kombat, but he still kind of got me a bit in Street Fighter, and I was actually a top second contender in that country for Utuado. So during that time, as I growing up, I made a lot of money. We made a lot of money. So much money that I was actually able to be the first kid to be able to get one of those Jeeps. And I don't know if I have any pictures and stuff like that in the video. It'll be posted somewhere around here right about now. But basically, I was able to drive all these Jeeps and stuff like that. And my sister actually got one too. And I was able to have so much fun because of so much money that was made through that. Something happened was we had to leave. We went and came to the United States, and I hit rock bottom. And by rock bottom, I mean I was poor as fuck. I mean I was poor all the way. There was just some big chaotic way, which I'm not going to go through all my hardships, the story about my hardships or anything like that. But just to say that it was crazy. The only thing that kept me going was actually the video games. I was playing video upon video game, and I noticed myself that I was really good at video games, like really fucking good at video games. So good that every single game that I was playing, I was almost getting bored because I was finishing them too quickly. And those are the type of games that was really hard back then. I'm talking about Contract, One Life, that hit, bullshit. And then obviously they had their little chip code that later was introduced up down, and the game Shark and stuff like that. But again, I was born and raised as a video game player. My life, I really, though I was forced to play piano and stuff like that, and manipulated to play piano, because the thing is, to play the video games back when I was young, I had to get an A. If I get an A, I can actually pay for a couple of hours. If I get an A plus on all my report cards, when I was a child, if I get all A's, I would definitely get Saturdays and Sundays all day to play video games. Same thing happened when I was playing piano. When I was taught when I was playing piano at the age of 9, I was every time I get a song or something like that, I was able to complete a song, I get $5. And then anytime that I can complete a whole choir of songs, like learn the chords from left to right hands, and I'm able to play with no mistakes, I would get $10. Even to the point where I actually worked at my father's job as an assistant, and basically would get $10 a week. So all that manipulation played a role on the things that I did and how I became racing and became it in real life. But the thing is, for the video games, I kept going all the way forward. Hell, even when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I was the top best in my school. I almost said the name. In the top best of my school until obviously new cards came out, which I couldn't keep buying new cards, and then I fall off the top #1 and down the ladder, and I quit Yu-Gi-Oh because I can't keep up. I can't keep spending money to become the best. In gaming, I also was a top 1 contender in my city. Except sports, anything that's football, baseball, and stuff like that, I couldn't handle that. So it was not attracted to me, so I couldn't become the best at that. So having that kind of mentality of being the best of something that you have been growing up to does affect your life. Now, I don't know about everybody else in the outside world, but this is actually part of how I was raised. Since I was the best in the gaming, when I was doing Super Smash Brother, when I was doing Golden 7, GoldenEye, 007 GoldenEye, and such, and I was being close to being undefeated, because some people would use the GoldenEye to try to kill me, and I just go ahead and counter with a rocket. And then when I was playing, again, all those new Street Fighter games that are coming out, those type, I always tried to be the best. And that mentality came into MMORPG around the age of 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and so on. Until I think at the age of 21, where I changed my mentality a bit. So during that time, I came in, it was the game that came out that I really played a bunch of them that changed my life was World of Warcraft. I think if I showed a video, because I could not show some of the players that asked me, it's like, were you really the best at Dragon Blight, the Red Paladin in the Dragon Blight server? Yes, I had stats, but it seems because it is all the way since I was 16 years old, and I'm 32 right now, I can't get those stats. So basically, that mentality came into World of Warcraft. I was a Red Paladin, and I stood through it, whether it was nerf or buff, it didn't matter. I stood through it all the way to the Lich King, where I was still the best Red Paladin in the Dragon Blight server. I was top contender for the Prot and top contender to Holy. So you see, that kind of mentality kept going, and actually kept going past Warcraft until I settled down. And that's the type of mentality that people have in here. However, I did not portray myself as the best. I did say I was the best with stats, but I didn't portray myself as the best when I wasn't the best. So that's the difference. That's delusional. And player always want to have that validation. And back then, when I became the best at something, I always had to have something to prove it. A stats, a ranking, anything they could show it. And between that, I would seek a validation. I would seek self-achievement and such and such. So if I want to go a little bit cover this real quickly. At the age of 18, stuff that I did for achievement, to try to become something in real life. I tried PC and software. That's one of my study. As you see, back then, that's a grand piano from Hanayama or something like that. Again, I study a lot. You can see my Yu-Gi-Oh card decks on the right side and stuff like that. I still have my little small amount of gaming during that time because I didn't want to get too much into gaming when I'm studying. And again, a bunch of study books. I did study math, C++. I was going to move from C++ to Python and keep going. I was a pianist all the way till, I think, all the way to like 24, and then I stopped during those points of time. I tried boxing, I tried bodybuilding, where I would actually go right ahead and test every type of body that I can get, how far I can get to, and see which one gets me hit with a magazine and stuff like that. But I couldn't cut it because it seems they wanted me bigger, and I didn't have the money to get bigger. Buying cheap food that were breast from Aldi or something like that wasn't enough to cut it and such, and I couldn't keep up with the pressure, so I actually didn't end up doing anything of the big stores. Again, I also tried cross country, did not get like really big or anything like that on it, so that's a little cover about myself and stuff that I wanted to become. One of the best things I really wanted to become is I wanted to become a deaf. I wanted to be a game designer because a game designer also able to test their games and have fun testing their game and stuff like that. Later to find out that the game designing this age, being a dev, is actually a fucking nightmare. So that didn't go through as I would have liked it. So again, back to the part, and let me actually check the video to make sure it's not too long. Alright, I'm at 10 minutes, so that's pretty good. Hell, when I play piano and stuff like that, everything that you become best is something on the city. It's in the city. But when you actually, when social media came out, when YouTube came out, you actually discover the fucking new world and know, hey man, you're just a little tiny speck out of this whole fucking world. So the best thing of the best, I actually would not be able to become always the best and stuff like that, but I always showed to become a good player after that. So my mentality did decrease at the age of 21, and look, it took at the age of 21 to actually decrease all the way down. But sometimes it would leak out that kind of way, because again, it's a core thing that where you were raised and brought up to. So again, that is probably the same thing that these type of players are doing back in the last video. They try to become the best or something like that. They want that recognition, they want that validation, they want that self-achievement, stuff like that. But again, they don't have nothing else to show for it, so it becomes something that you're just delusional. And the problem with that is that when players actually follow these type of players, you're also being misled. If you look at the video of the guidance for Hellgate, there was a very well-known YouTuber who used this type of build, and they tried to do that build, and they failed because this type of build that they were using is something that they were good at, but not something that everyone can use. So these players was led the wrong way in how to play the wrong way, because it was something that only they can do. So during that time in the guidance, I switched the build and I said, let's test it with the druid robot and stuff like that and see how good. And then when I did test it this, and you can watch the guidance video for Hellgate, when I did test it, actually, and this is it, this is what you have to stay with. And then I brought them to the blue Hellgate, then I brought them to the yellow Hellgate. They were satisfied, I left them, they were good to go. But again, I don't proclaim myself the best player in the world. I proclaim myself to be a good player. So the time came where I played over 100 MMORPG in game, and because many times I did spend my time at home and just working here and there, and then spend my time at home, I used to study all the time. I had to like literally close to 6 to 7 hours that I could actually go ahead and study. I would work, come back home, play for like 2 hours, and then study. And when I didn't do study, I would go ahead and play all the games that I wanted to play. So again, skip to the future. About 100 MMORPG has been played during this time. So then I started making YouTube videos, and only I made the YouTube videos for educational purposes. Stuff that if I can do it, someone else can do it, because I related with a lot of players saying that, hey, I am not the only good player in this world. If I can do it, anyone else can do it. I found that out that I wasn't actually as special as I thought. So if I could do something, anybody in the world can actually do it. So then I started making a video, and someone told me, say, hey man, you're really doing good with guide, you should make more YouTube videos with that. And I started with the Lone Wolf guide. If I actually go right here, I can actually go for the oldest one, so we can actually go for that one. And the reason all those pictures that came out was from this thing right here, which I actually went ahead and this is a troll. Do not take this fucking serious. This was a troll because I think this guy was trolling, but he was actually serious about it. But this was all a troll. And I'll put that in the description below, because it has me saying I spy for my country and I survived my own assassination. And that was just a messed up thing that I did on April Fool's Day, which I'm not going to cover that in here. So basically during this time, I started, again, this is a private server for World of Warcraft, and then I jump into the Aurora Kingdom. So on Aurora Kingdom, there was the worst class, and I think I'm going to post it somewhere around here because I don't have it right now. I forgot that I didn't put it up in here, but the worst class to play is actually the Tai Chi. And the best class to play is actually the Ravager, which stumps 3 times to the ground and spins all day. That's all they do. It's stump, stump, spin, spin, stump, stump, spin, spin. That's all they do. So I played the worst class, and what I wanted to do during this time that I was already played over 100 MMORPG was that I wanted to break classes. If I can bring the lowest class to be the best class, I made an achievement for myself, and then later on in the future when I quit the game, I would have something for myself to remember. So that's what I basically did. I was playing the Aurora Kingdom. It was not such a big deal. I wasn't getting like big views and stuff like that. I didn't want to become a YouTuber either. Actually, I was an advocate that I hated YouTube. Why? Because all the people that actually went to college and all that stuff like that has a hard time to actually still get a good job and such in this type of age. And then YouTube during this time, 5 years ago, during this time, basically YouTuber could just make a fucking video. If they become very popular, they make a lot of money without even going to freaking college and stuff like that. So I was like that. I'm not like that anymore. I really don't give a shit. But at the age about 5 years ago, which I'm 32, 5 years or 27, I guess, I was basically like this. So basically, I didn't have the great review. I didn't really care. I told players not to subscribe to me, which was a bad idea. I should have asked for a subscribe because I would have had so much of a player base by now. And I told them not to like my videos. I didn't want my YouTube to be out there or become worldwide or anything like that. So I actually show this playthrough, and basically what happens is once I reach close to max level, not quite finished with my guide, my build or anything like that. Once I reach a good amount of level and stuff like that, I made a video which got 2,000 views at the first day, because people could not believe that Tai Chi could become the best class. So it got 2,000, but not only until I did the hell mode, which was supposed to do them with 4 people, and you're supposed to have really, really good gear. It's hell mode. It's not normal mode, hell mode. And you only do it with 1 player doing the whole thing. And then after I did the first solo lament ever, I'm talking about in the whole fucking world YouTube community, the first solo lament that I did without having any advantage gear, just straight up normal gear. I finished that, and is this times 2? No, that's why. I finished that, and that is where my my guide became the like out there. I got 20,000 views like crazy. Players wanted to know what I did, how a solo players was doing this, and that's something what I like about solo content game. If you're exceptional in something like that, again, I'm not. I know it sounded like I'm saying I'm an exception or something like that, but I'm saying what I'm trying to say is if you're good at something, if you're a good player or pro player, but I'm not pro, but if you're a good player, you actually be able to make these kind of things, and I like these type of games because it separates the newbies, the normal players, from all other players who are a bit higher. When I did this, there was comments everywhere saying that I was a one-word legend and I was an idol and stuff like that. That's called validation right there. That's called self-achievement. That's all. That makes you feel really good, and that's what other people are trying to seek too. And still to this age, there's a bunch of players who are always going to seek that kind of stuff because it's a human nature. It's always in our genes to always seek validation or recognition. I'm sorry, I am Spanish. My English is just blah, 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 but I try my best on this one. So when I did my guide for it, I did the samurai guide, and it was a huge guide. When I actually did that, I show a bunch of video. I answer a bunch of questions and stuff like that in here. I show them my stats, and I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this because someone did say the question about the about why costumes is better, and then this is the reason, because you look fucking good when you're actually doing contents or when you're killing players and stuff like that. So when I did this, there was a lot of players who came out of nowhere and say, my god, this is OP, oh crap. There's a lot of players who are now going to be using Tai Chi and stuff like that. And once the Ravager started to hit with the nerf and stuff like that, the Tai Chi was the next best thing. So I made Tai Chi the best for Aurora Kingdom, and a lot of players went a bit crazy on it. Sorry, I'm about to burp, I think. So during those points of time that I was actually doing this guide and stuff like that, it was long. This is where my in-depth core thing comes from. When I'm trying to make a video and it becomes too much in depth. There's a lot of times that players, when I did the first boss solo lament and the second boss solo lament, when I was the first player to ever do that around the whole community, there was other players who tried to claim that they can also do it, but they will never show a video or never prove it to the community. So these type of players are the same amount of players that we're talking about Albion Online, that they're just speaking and stuff like that, and I'm actually saying to them, if this is true, if you can actually show us the video. It's not that hard to put up a video. Open Broadcaster is actually free. Show me that you can actually do it. Only one player actually was able to do it, and that was a player using the advantage of wind type gear completely. Without the wind type gear, he couldn't do it. And by the way, that player is one of my good friends, and is not one of these players who claimed themselves that they could have done it. Obviously, time passed and stuff like that, and then everyone else was able to do it after everybody became OP. You know, like everybody tried to solo the Lich King and stuff like that. Back then you can't do it, and nowadays you just can do it easily like nothing. It's like doing debt mines in World of Warcraft. So during that time, I was getting a lot of recognition, and I always help everyone who asked about a question by my guy. This guy, Helm Zero, he would ask a question about it, and I would show it detailedly. Everything that he really wanted. And then the guy will ask me, and if it's not too much trouble, can you list your 65 plus gear? And again, I will show him everything in here that he really needed. And I was called a gentleman and a scholar for doing so. So again, every time someone asked a question, I would take my time and detail. There's a lot of people, if you actually keep reading through this or pausing it a little bit slowly, there was a lot of people who gave me recognition back then when I was playing Aurora Kingdom. But again, those recognitions are nothing because, to be honest with you, it ain't like it's giving me a lot of money. So it made me feel good at points, but it was nothing big. I mean, if I was a League of Legends player, top player, League of Legends, that would have been much better for me because then I'm actually making money for what I'm doing. So I moved out of this, and with the same concept, I went into another game. This game was called Night Fable. During this time, I was reaching 110, 115 MMORPG, and the reason why I started playing Night Fable, which was a company who was a very big pay to win, I was at VIP 4 and I was beating VIP 11, and players was asking me, how did your $20 to $30 actually beat players who has $1,000 to $2,000? And I say, it's like, well, everything is being brought by GT Arcade. They're giving you the stuff that you need. They're giving you events that gives you 1,000 gold if you're good at it. So that's the reason why I started playing it. And it's like, well, I cannot write guys like you do. I cannot do the same thing. It's like, well, I apologize, but this is the reason why I'm playing it, and the reason why I'm at VIP 4, defeating the player and top #1 contender in the S71 for, that's a server, S71 for Night Fable and such. And this, I did the same thing for another one on a mobile game. Maybe I'll put it up here somewhere. I have a series where I was beating, as a VIP 4 player, I was beating VIP 10 with VIP 11 by taking calculations from mathematical and mechanicals in the game and added it into my advantage, which they would just throw money. And in the end, they were able to, like, in the end, they got to win, like, way near. VIP 14 was actually what took me down, because they made it more pay to win, and it was no chance. It was also in the beginning was actually balanced, and then later on they made it way too pay to win that no VIP free player can actually win. So in here's where my guides come from. Look how long this was basically an event. Not only did became a mod in here, which I'll show you later. But when it came into this event, I said to myself, I need that 1,000 gold. That's like $20 worth in gold. So again, if you actually look, I'm going to scroll it real fast. I did such a huge guide. Everything was black, so the color was actually better. So I don't know why they put it white. But again, that's my signature, taste the freaking rainbow. And basically, during that time, I would win the 1,000 gold. Again, it came out the CS strategy. Here's the thing is, I won because I cover everything to the detail, to the molecule level, basically. I will cover everything that there is in there that no one else has covered yet. So during that time, see, this was actually black, because during that time, you get a secret hidden bonus if you actually highlight it, which was black, but now everybody can just fucking see this. They fucking ruined that crap. So basically, during this time, again, next guide, this one, the new beast strategy and stuff like that. I think this one I already showed it. Then the final maze strategy, again, really long strategy, and it covers to the point that here's the funny part. I didn't care to become the best because I'm giving them all the information they needed to beat me in here. All the information in the maze. So watch this. All the way to the point that this is actually quite funny, so much that. But again, I give them all the way to the point that when it becomes the goodies, is this a goodie? No. Sorry. Apologies. There's a goodie part here. Quiz answer right here, baby. Here's the goodies. I went ahead and I took the time to challenge every quiz and give you all of the answer. That's what I did for that. Not only was I doing this for winning for the 1,000 gold, but I also wanted to help the community. So I wanted to strike two birds with one stone. So as you see, all this goes all the way down. And I was surprised that the mod, I mean, when I asked Jelly about this, I was surprised that they let it through. I was surprised that they say it's like, whoa, you did the trouble, and it's okay, people are loving it, we're going to keep it. And I was like, wow, you actually let the answers in there. So what happens is, when it became this issue, say like Beast Master Strategy Maze, I would get the first score. Final Hecate S71 Rigo. And then again, when they make another one, oh, sorry, this is actually my last one. There's forum had a bunch of bad things in there, so you had to actually click on it. There were some words that you cannot use in here for some reason, so I made it like this. Players would really hate me for joining the guy because they knew I was going to win 100% of the time. So some of the players would say like this one would say like, hey, nice effort, but it's unreadable due to the tilted, and I show them that you just had to click on it. And again, some other players would tell me it's too long or stuff like that, and I was like, well, other people appreciate it, and I'm just here for my 200 gold. I don't need to win my 1,000 gold. But it was actually being modest. In actuality, I was actually going for my 1,000 gold, but I didn't care because I knew I was going to win during this time. Again, congrats, 1,000 gold for it, which again, during the Mist Mastery CS strategy or the expedition, again, I was getting #1 on it. So I play games that gives me advantage on it, so that if it is pay to win, so I can actually be able to compete with these type of players. In Albion Online, the only thing mostly I did is gathering, and I'll explain that in a bit. But I just wanted to show you that I'm not lying. In 130 MMORPG, I did work with devs. Many of the devs that allow player base to become a mod or a GM, they have a Skype during that time, and Skype allowed me to talk to them. If it wasn't through that, the old ones, you had to talk to them through mail. So I had to talk to them through what was the first Hotmail, and then after that Yahoo. Now Yahoo fucking sucks. Gmail is the best. So basically, I was a person. I was a judgment during this time, also known as Final Hecate. I was the one who created the triple cannon setup, which was a build that no one will go for. They wouldn't go for, because you can become first place in the ranking arena, but you can lose it easily. You can become second rank. If you can snipe it right at the end, that's the only way that you can keep it. But it allows me to get a massive amount of points when they came into the dragon, and it became to the cross server battle. And so, and there was a lot of people who again gave me a lot of recognition and stuff like that here. Though it didn't matter, it was a lot of recognition. In Albion Online, there was a lot of things that I have done for the community, and that's in one of my games. I actually stood in the yellow at one point, and I wanted to play the, and you know what, I'm going to look in the forum for a second so I can show you. Actually, I can do it right here. In Albion Online, I wanted to play the Gatherer, and I did that. I successfully played the Gatherer, and I stood in the yellow and blue, not blue zone, yellow zone only, and I did went to the red zone, but I never went to the black zone until the 2019, when 2019? Yeah, when I came back in March, so 2019, I became in the black zone and I started doing a lot more. But again, during this time, I was making 25 mil a week. During the premium, there was only 1 mil, 1.2 mil. So I could have bought me 2 years. So I did bought me 1 year worth, and I came back here with at least 6,000 to 7,000 learning points, which that's where I sold my Master Fawn, and I used all my money to buy Insight Tomes and became tier 8 during that time. And then when I had only 240,000 silver, I used my guide. I used the Gathering Yellow guide that I made, which was very long, as you see all my threads. I used that one to, let me see, where is it? The 17 mil. There you go. I used that one to gain 18 mil in 4 days during the time where T5 were only 200 silver in both set. So as you see, I only got T5, and if you look at the glade, keep eyes on the date. Keep eyes on the date, okay? All right, this is actually on that date, sorry. Same date. And then keep eyes on the date in the bottom, 15, 751, 10 mil. So the rest of the days that I did, the 4 days, I took it easy. Went to 18 mil, getting ready for that fucking random dungeon, which again, there's a bunch of videos that happens that I did for the community in random dungeon. I proved that druids are viable, and there's a video about that. I proved that T5 and T6 can beat T7 and T8 random dungeon because T8 and T7 T8 was not uninterrupted. T5 was all interrupted. Hardly any one dive. I only got one dive, and he got his ass kicked by someone who tried to solo. So again, those things I did for the community, and I understand that players always try to become the best at something. And I'm actually, I think that's gonna be it for all the pictures and stuff like that. There's players who are always trying to become the best at something, but if you don't have anything to back that up, you're technically really not the best or something like that. And I understand you. I understand all of you who wants to be recognized and stuff like that, and keep recognition. I understand that. That's human nature. And that's something that I did when I was like 16, 17, and 18 years old and stuff like that, all the way into 21. I understand that. But do not delude yourself, delude others to thinking that you are the best, because you're not. If you become the best, people will recognize you. Like I said, if I say the word loopback, oak tree, or undisputed, the best thing you're going to hear out there is you can become a best player, god player, or awesome player. Okay? So that is actually going to be the end of my video. How I am. I'm known as Dion. I'm a gamer. I will die being a gamer. And that's it. Hey guys, welcome to the outro. Man, look, it's 1 a.m. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. This is pretty much who I am. I'm Dion. I like playing games, and that's all I'm doing. If you like my channel, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff, and then I can't wait for Hightail. Anyway, have a good time, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.